I'm Dr. Ira Byock. I do a lot of different things related to end-of-life experience and care. I'm a practicing physician. I teach at a medical school, Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center and Medical School. I direct a palliative care program in an inpatient hospital, acute care hospital. I also write for the general public and speak and teach nationally, and have been active in advocacy around expanding access to services and quality of care for people who are seriously ill and their families. A unifying theme for me throughout all of the different aspects of my work has been to normalize end-of-life experience and care. I mean, this is as hard a time of life as any other in human life. People do have an enormous chance and risk of suffering during the time that we call dying. But in fact, every life has a beginning and an end. And the end of life, however it happens, is in effect a normal time in the life of every individual and family. I think it's time for the American public as a culture to finally begin to integrate the facts of illness, death, dying, caregiving, and grief into a normative way in which we approach caring for ourselves and living our life as an individual and as a family. In a sense, it's time for us to grow the rest of the way up. And what that means is, to accept the fact that we do die. I mean, it's really time to just acknowledge it and get over it. And then to get on with thinking about how we can live as well as possible and care for one another as well as possible during this difficult, unwanted, but inevitable time in our lives and our families' lives. I teach a number of things. One is, of course, just to get an advance directive done at very least. When somebody is seriously ill or injured, it's important to know who speaks for them. And, having a living will and power of attorney for health care is just part of good health maintenance. When I bring that up to patients at the hospital, not uncommonly somebody will say, well, Dr. Byock, is it that serious, Do I really need one? And my response is twofold. Number one, it's not about your illness necessarily. It's serious enough. But we do this for everyone. We think that having an advance directive is not only a good way to take care of yourself, but a way of projecting your caring for others into an uncertain future so that your family, who are going to be left holding the bag, struggling with difficult decisions about you and your life, will not have some idea of what you would want in such circumstance. The other thing I say to people is that I have an advance directive, and so does everyone in my family, including my two daughters in their 20s. Think about it. The Nancy Cruzan case, the Karen and Quinlan case, all of those cases, Terry Schiavo, were young women who did not have an acknowledged or weren't aware that they were ill before their accident or serious mishap. So it really is just a way of caring for one another. The other thing I say to people is, this is a good day to say the things that would be left unsaid if, heaven forbid, you or a loved one were to die suddenly, as any of us might. I have talked a lot about learning from patients and their families the value of saying at least 4 things to one another before we're forced to say goodbye. Please forgive me. I forgive you, because in the history of the planet there has not been a perfect relationship. Please forgive me, I forgive you, thank you, and I love you. That's a bit like stating the obvious, the thank you and I love you, but these things are worth saying. Redundancy is a virtue in this setting. So what I'd like to do in my career and hope that I'd be able to contribute to is just a cultural maturation within the health community, but also in the general community, about the facts of illness, dying, death, and grief, and the fact that we can care well for one another through the very end of life. In so doing, we enrich all of life. Thanks.
Close your eyes.